Hey guys, Jason here from Usable Smoke Productions, and in today's video we will be taking a look at the quantization feature in Logic Pro. Alright, let's dive in. As a quick recap, the project we've been looking at in the past few videos is a tune called Shades. Started out as a demo project from GarageBand. We've brought it over into Logic Pro, done the conversion process from iOS to macOS. We've adjusted our routing on our buses. Um, we've done some uh, organizational workflow things. We worked on gain staging. We worked on doing some crossfades. Um, and now we're taking a closer look at the tracks to see which of these are salvageable, which ones will need to be retracked, re-recorded, and so forth. All right, so the quantization feature is a really useful tool, and it will definitely aid in our process here in getting this ready for release. So far we have our drum set and our percussion sounding pretty good. We're going to take a quick listen to the way that we have some of these samples faded and cross-faded and blended together. So we've got a mix of MIDI sounds that we've converted to audio. We have real analog instruments. We have some samples. Let's take a listen to the combination here. Okay, so it sounds pretty good. So one of the things that you may run into if you're taking an older project, an older demo, and you're wanting to polish it up and get it ready for release, is you might wind up finding that one of your tracks, while it might be a special and meaningful thing, just isn't lining up correctly. Like maybe the rhythms are a hair off or something like that, but you don't want to scratch it because it's special. It adds to the arrangement. There's a little bit of magic in the imperfection. And in my case, I had myself and my kids record some vocals, and we're going to take a listen to it here. And this is from when they were little, so I want to keep this in.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Okay, so I definitely want to keep that in. Again, it was recorded when they were just small kids, right? Little kids. This is a few years ago. Now they're all grown up, and their voices have changed and everything. And again, I believe that music is kind of like a little snapshot in time, right? So we want it to capture that particular moment, and I want to preserve that. But I do want to time align it, because if I put it together with what we what we just heard, you're going to hear that it's a bit off. Let's take a listen.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Okay, so you can hear that some of those hays are early, some of them are late. We want to try to fix that as best we can. Okay, so quantization is going to come in real handy here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this region, okay, for the family haze. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on it. And that's going to open up down below here. This is going to open up an editor, the editor tool, okay? And we're not going to be able to do anything with any of these family haze. If we click on it or whatever, we won't be able to do really anything to it other than drag the region, which I don't want to do that. We have to enable a feature that is called Flex, okay, the Flex editor. So we want to turn on Flex for this particular region. In fact, later on in the song, it comes up again. So I have 3 more instances of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight the entire thing here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 regions here of these family haze highlighted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on Flex. All right, so it changed what it looks like down here. Now we can see there's some of these little, little dotted line um, where it's analyzed the transients of each of our waveforms, and it's sensing where the beginnings of the waveforms are. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it better. But because this was recorded in stereo, you'll see that the bottom transient or the right channel transient starts a little bit earlier than the left side, just a tad. Okay, that's just an imperfection in the performance. All right, and with a stereo file, we're not going to be able to separate them. Well, actually, I lied. You can do that, but in this instance, we're not going to bother doing that. We're going to adjust the stereo file together. Okay, so you can see that they're just a little tiny bit early for the most part. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go back here, and I can do this a couple of different ways. I can do this manually, or I can do it automatically. The automatic feature comes in very, very handy if you are maybe wanting to produce a demo or something quickly. You want to get it back to your client, or you want to get it back to your band if you're in the writing process, and you want to lay something down quickly and you want it to be as accurate as possible. The automatic feature works pretty well. I'll show you how to do that first, although it may not be ideal in all cases. Okay, so in this particular case, let's see here. I'm gonna move this back just a little bit, like that. Okay, in this particular case, these family hays come in on the and of 1. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Hey, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Hey, and so forth. Okay, so where's count 1? All right, so count 1 is right here. Here's the E. Here's the and. Here's the Here's count 2. Okay, if we're counting in traditional 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a, for our 16th notes. All right, so 1 E and. So I want my waveform to start here. All right, now since I want it to start on the and I don't have to worry about it taking place on the E or the of the 16th note, I can go to my inspector window here and I can turn Quantize on. Right now it's off, and I can select 8th note. And what this will do is it will move over that initial transient, hopefully, to where I want it to be. Let's see if that works. Okay, and as you can see, it moved this transient over. It didn't move my initial transient over. Okay, so that's going to be problematic because it's not going to give me the effect that I want. It's not going to synchronize it the way that I want. Let's take a listen and see how well it did. Okay, now you can see that in some instances it's kind of sliced off the beginning part of the transient. Okay, so if I solo this, you might hear a little skip. It's there, but it's very slight. And you can hear that sometimes this results in unnatural sounding artifacts, particularly with vocals. Okay, because with vocals, again, it's not just an attack. You have consonants and vowels and the way that they interact with one another. Sometimes it's best to not use automatic quantization. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And we'll look at some other instruments and we'll see if automatic quantization works a bit better for some instrumental correction. But for vocal, quite honestly, I almost never use automatic quantization for vocal performance. If there is some kind of inaccuracy or something like that, I first of all, I try to get it the best I can in one take. But if I run into trouble with it sounding unnatural, which can happen, I'll do it manually. So that's the next step that I'll show you here. All right, how to manually move this waveform over. All right, so the first thing is I want to create an end marker here. So I'm going to go ahead and just click this region right here. Okay, and what you see is it has created some of these vertical lines here. Okay, so this is like the end of my previous waveform. This is sensing the beginning of what it thinks the beginning of my waveform is. So I'm going to get rid of that. I want the beginning of my waveform to be this guy over here. So I'm just going to click over here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've got from here to here, this whole thing I can move over by clicking and dragging. All right, so I'm just dragging this guy over here. All right, I'm lining him up with the and of 1, right? So here's 1, E, and. Okay, now you can see there's a little bit of a transient over here that it's picking up. I'm not exactly sure what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and go back a little bit further here. And we will try it again. Yep, it's still there. So we'll take a listen and we'll hear what that sounds like.
Hey!
Okay, so you can hear there's a little bit of a artifact there, an unnatural artifact.
Hey!
But this might work in context with the being rhythmically aligned. So let's take a listen to it. Okay, actually that sounded a lot better. That sounds like it's mostly rhythmically aligned. Okay, now again, if I undo this, if I get rid of these markers that I've just created, and we go back to what it sounded like before, you can hear it was way early before. Okay, so this is going to come in handy. I want to go ahead and keep that where it was. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this guy, and I'm going to add my marker here, and I'm just going to slide this guy over and line him up with the and of 1. Okay, now this little little unnatural artifact here at the beginning, we can actually fade that out, not clip it, I'm sorry, you can cut it out or fade it out entirely so that it won't be present in your final product, which I'll show you in a different video. But let's take a listen to that. That sounds pretty good. Let's listen to the next one. Okay, so this one I want to move over. All right, so again, now I have to remember to add another end marker here, because if I don't, it's going to move all of these other ones over as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this guy. I'm going to move him over, 1E, and there we go. So let's hear what these sound like. That's pretty good. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add another end marker over here somewhere. And I'm going to move this guy over. I'm going to want to get rid of that. And we'll put a new beginner marker here. And we'll see if we can get the beginning of that transient lined up pretty reasonably well with the and. There we go. Let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, and now we've got the last one here. And this last one here, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to move him over here. We don't have to put an end marker here because it is at the end of the waveform. Okay, so 1E and. All right, so we're going to move this one over to there. There we go. Let's hear what they sound like. Okay, much better. All right, so again, you're going to want to use your ears. I'll probably go back and move these around a little bit more because, again, when you're dealing with vocals, you're not just getting one singular attack. You're getting, in this case, hey, you're getting a little bit of the H sound before you're getting to the E sound. So I might move these around a little bit to, uh, coincide a little bit more with the rhythmic things happening in the drums and percussion part. Okay, but this gives you kind of an idea on how to do that. Let's take another listen. Okay, not bad. All right, so um, when will automatic quantization work better? Well, I find that it works pretty well for bass. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solo the bass part. Okay, so by itself, it doesn't really sound too terrible, other than, back when I was just learning how to play bass, I'd probably do some things differently now playing wise, but it doesn't sound horrible. But when I take it off solo and I listen to it along with the rest of what I've just time corrected, it may or may not sound great. Let's take a listen. Okay, so you can hear there's some rhythmic inaccuracies there. All right, so once again, there's nothing fancy going on here. There's no 16th notes or anything. These are just eighth notes. Again, knowing your arrangement is going to come in handy here. So I'm going to go through the same process. I'm going to double click this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on flex. It will ask, do you want to turn on flex for the track, bass, Ruby, Soho plucked? And I'm going to say yes, turn on flex. Okay, so now that's in there, and you can see now in my editor window here, you can see I'm looking at the transients and all that good stuff. And some of them look like they're lined up pretty well. Others appear to be rather early. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to do automatic quantization and see what it sounds like. All right, so this is the before and after. Here's before. Okay, let's turn on automatic quantization. Let's select eighth notes, and we will see what it sounds like. Let's see if it sounds any better. Here we go. Oh, yes, the system overload message. That's going to be saved for another video, but you can see my CPU just spiked here as soon as I did that. Let's hopefully that won't happen again. Okay, so it does not sound horribly bad, but I'm going to see if I can fix a couple of things. All right, so first of all, I noticed that some of the ending of my waveforms sounded like they were spliced, or they didn't have a very natural resolution. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and solo this and take a listen to where some of those spots are. Those are really easy to fix. Let's take a listen. Right there. Okay, here's one of them here in measure 16. So you can see that when I was playing it, my release of the note, or maybe I was moving to another fret or something like that, it caught some of that fret noise, and it's thinking that it's the beginning of a new rhythm where it shouldn't be. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn that off. Okay, I can actually just click on the X, and it will get rid of that, and it will hopefully clean that up and make it sound a lot better. Let's take another listen. Okay, so not bad. Let's go back. Oh, right there's another one. Hear how it sounds almost kind of echoey? So let's get rid of that one. There's another one right there. Let's get rid of that. Actually, in this case, it's because it didn't move over the transient. It's early. So we're going to get rid of this. And you can see that now it kind of moved this guy over. It's not exactly lined up. So let's go ahead and do our magic trick of moving it over manually. It should sound a lot better. Here's another unnatural artifact. Here's another one. We want to get rid of that. There we go. Better. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to this in context now and hear what it sounds like. Okay, so this is something that you can do probably, in this case, with your bass part to clean it up and to align the rhythms, more cohesively. Bluntly, though, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to probably just wind up retracking this because I'm not exactly happy with the performance. I think I can get probably a better performance out of it if I play it now, 3-4 years later after having demoed this song. Okay, so I'll probably wind up just retracking it, but who knows? There might be some part of this here that's salvageable or that I might want to keep. So we're going to leave that as it is, and we're going to go to another instrument here really quick. Let's go ahead and go to this accordion part. So remember earlier I said there might be some elements that you really want to keep because they're sentimental. This is going to be one of those parts for me because my dad played accordion on this piece of music. It was a really fun get-together. He came out to my house and he brought his accordion, and I told him I was writing the song. I gave him the chord changes, and we had lunch. And we had a little jam session down in the basement and recorded him playing an accordion part for this song. And I want to keep this forever. I want it to be part of this arrangement, part of this song. I don't want to re-record it. I want it to be him playing on it because it's a special memory to me. So now that said, let's take a listen and see if there's any, time alignment or anything like that that needs to happen. Okay. Yeah. So again, there's a lot of magic in this recording here. So I probably won't do anything to it, right? I'll probably just keep it just as it is. Because that's the way I want to preserve it. I want to preserve the memory of it. Okay, so there will be instances where you want to, quantize and make rhythmic corrections and things like that. There will be other cases where you'll say, it's not really appropriate for me to use. I want to just keep it as is, even though there might be some kind of rhythmic imperfections. And different instruments will respond differently to the quantization tool, right? Vocals, bass, guitar, all of them will respond a little bit differently, but again, you can use the automatic function. You can manually move the waveforms around. Whatever works best for you is what you should choose. All right, so that concludes this video. Again, I hope that you found some of what we did today with the quantization tool helpful. If you can learn from my mistakes and my trial and error, then you'll be in a good place with your music production and your songwriting. If you found the video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That'll definitely help out. And I'll see you again in the next video. This is Jason from Usable Smoke Productions. Until next time, happy music making, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.